You feel you would have died in that scenario for sure. I'm very happy that we didn't, because I feel the same way, honestly. I feel like the majority of the time I die in that scenario. But thank you for the well played. I'll still take credit for it, even if I don't feel it's completely deserved. Onwards we go. Ooh, getting a nice Conjurations book there. It's another thing that we can definitely think about swapping into in the late game. And a four-headed Hydra. We have a decent number of spell levels here. What I'm thinking about is learning Conjure Flame and seeing if we can't cheese out this Hydra a little bit. We don't have a lot of ranged spells at our disposal. I mean, if we even take a look here, Earth Magic just hit its cap, which is good. Invocations, even after talking about it, I never turned on. So let's quickly get that going. Bring it up to a half-decent score as well. And I think I will go back into the Conjurations route here, at least for a little bit. We just picked up a whole lot of spells in that department. And we will likely be relying on this to some extent in the future of our run as well. Magma Bolt is indeed castable, so that will be on the agenda here. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a huge range, but it's far enough to get over Conjured Fires, I guess. Main issue is how expensive some of these spells are, but let's learn that, and let us learn Conjure Flame. Come in sight of our Hydra pal here, and see, it begins to smolder. We'll leave a couple of fire spots behind. Start blasting once with Fireball, and then let's test out Bolt of Magma as well. Deals a decent chunk of change as the Hydra walks right into the fire. Perfect. So most intelligent monsters won't do that same thing. They won't give us the benefits that we saw there. But let's drop this troll down a shaft. Perfect. Then we can heal up safely. Might as well enjoy Magma Bolt while you still can. Is it getting removed? Is it gone in Trunk? I guess that makes sense. Bolt spells have been on the way out for a while in general, so it's just the last one on the long list at the end of the day. It is gone. So yes, let's definitely try and eke out every little advantage we can while it's still here, while it's still around. Let's show it some love. Let's take our Cyclops friend on a little bit of a journey. Oh, sir. Okay. I guess he lost interest. Oh, no. What the heck? Sir. Unfortunately, with those thrown rocks, we're not quite as safe using Conjure Flame to create our buffer zone, but still helps out. We can keep them at that max range for as long as we possibly could. Instead, we'll do the smart play here and we'll run like the coward we are. And let's read another ID scroll, shall we? Figure out the 3. I think it's about time I read some of these 6 stacks. In fact, let's read both of those. We get teleportation, we get magic mapping. For the teleportation, I want to head upstairs, let it pop off. But nice, now we have a few more tools at our disposal at the very least. In general, I so often like to wait until we have any ID scrolls so that we're not wasting even a single scroll here. But when you have 6 in each stack, I mean, you're sitting pretty nicely there. Oops, I'm hitting upstairs instead of downstairs. Just wondering what was going on. It was breaking my brain there for a moment. Let's do a little bit of a loop-de-loop. I want to get, around the Cyclops. Oh, this is why we don't move quickly. Pay attention to your movements, folks. Come face to face with your worst fears. Well, let's immediately get some sticky flame going. I mean, it might be even slightly better that you're not throwing rocks at us. Let's get poison and sticky flame working in conjunction here. And we should be able to output enough damage. In fact, getting a rock thrown at us might be slightly more dangerous than just trying to duke this one out at the end of the day. Can do maybe a quick look at something like, oops, I see it's a force more, that's why I was confused. Tropa darts probably, yeah, have a 3% chance to blind. Not great. That's not what I was looking for, being honest with you. Curari will be a decent amount of additional poison damage each turn, since it's such a heavy degree of poison. I do not have Ignite. No, unfortunately. I don't even think we picked it up, right? Without me noticing. If so, I definitely should have learned that, if just to work in conjunction. But not yet. That would be the way out of this in a quick and severe fashion. Alternatively, I think I can risk one step. Cyclops still just burning over there. And now that we're a step away, I can add Fireball to the mix of damage between the damage over the time and the Fireball effect. Absolutely ridiculous amount of damage in that final hit. And there we go. And your vision. No worries. I also happen to have just so many fire spells at my disposal that at the end of the day, all you can see is red, really. I don't want to be insensitive, but I would say that all fire spells kind of look the same. We also have 2 rings of protection, which brings us up to 15 AC. I mean, it's weird because about to head into Lair, there's a good chance that we run into poison monsters, so it's probably the time that we would actually want a resistance to poison. But we can always swap to that when it becomes necessary. And until then, try and take advantage of just the additional armor class. It is pretty huge. Let's just bring you upstairs, shall we? Perfect. And the Bullfrog alone, fortunately, the Gauntlet, sitting right there, right outside of our door. So, can definitely make it into that with good timing here. Coming up to 15 AC also makes Yaks much more manageable to fight just in the old school fashion. Mano a mano here, hand to hand. And let us check out our Gauntlet. But before we do, I've remembered. It's a rarity, but I've remembered. Let's drop some stuff. Get rid of the Staff of Air. We don't need that. We want as many inventory slots as we can kind of get away with, just so that we can pick up a whole lot of the good stuff while we're in here. Even the plate armor is a ways off. That should be enough inventory slots. I mean, I have some garbage I could toss out if we find something truly incredible anyway, right? Let's take a look. I've mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again, that Gauntlet is one of the better branches because you can always at least explore your way in here. There's no harm whatsoever. You can leave if things look too scary. Just get the heck out. No harm, no foul. But ideally, we'll see some goodies that we really want to get our grubby little paws on. Be able to take advantage of that. Let's see. There's a fire-based room at the end of this one hall, which isn't great for us. Unfortunately, that's our damage right now, is fire. We do have Ice Blast wands, so we could get a little bit creative with it, potentially try and use those. Should maybe take a quick look. How many enemies are actually in here? Because when you get that like mirror effect or mirage effect running around every which way and you're seeing the after images of them, it can look like it's a whole lot worse than it is. Still not ideal. We don't have any fire resistance either, so fire breath is going to hurt real bad. Same with all these bolts. You like the planning and decisions involved with the Gauntlet? I agree, yeah, especially when you have a whole lot of different routes to go and such a varied array of enemies in each of them. I don't think I've ever really thought about it that way, but I definitely would agree with you. That's super fun. The +6 Imagine Bow. Interesting. +6 Vampiric Staff. So this is an unran dart. Gives good intelligence, gives some MP as well. I think it makes us lose health when we cast spells, though. I think that's what's meant by the Terrible Bargain. In exchange for a tiny portion of the caster's life essence, taken every time its wielder casts a spell, she will occasionally redirect the life essence of creatures damaged by the spell to the caster. So even our spells gain a bit of vampiricism. It is a two-hander, which normally, you know me, I treat like acid. Don't want to handle that whatsoever. It's not a guarantee on this run that we'll be going the shield route, So we could potentially be convinced, especially just in the early game, to use something like Majin Bow. Unfortunately, I don't know how much the rest of this area intrigues me. Magical boots could be nice. A staff could be good. Guess we wouldn't get that side if we did, and there's nothing really in this first room. Bunch of ice creatures, so we could potentially absolutely blast them, and in fact probably would with our fire. The gargoyles, though, are kind of scary. Just a wee bit. Stone arrows are going to be coming in hot and fast from both of them here. 3d12, plus they hit like a freaking truck for this stage of the game. None of these rooms look essentially or especially inviting, in all honesty. Usually we'd have at least some kind of elemental resistances in bank by now. Could go for the mutagenic chamber here. Getting transient mutations right before we have to go fight a Minotaur. Little scary. Just a bit. One of the last little things of calculus, because I promise we will get moving soon, is just to see some health totals here. 38, 27. So Ice Blast will slap pretty hard. The only issue is we probably won't get the space required to use it necessarily. We have 9 charges. We have decent AC, all things considered. I think I will go with the right side here today. Not going to face the wizard, because even with our willpower, Fireball is still going to hit pretty hard. They have a decent chunk of health as well. I mean, we don't have electricity resistance, which means the 6 fur here, the 6 furry maybe, is potentially going to be a bit of a pain. That high evasion won't do a whole lot if we're just able to sling out a bunch of unavoidable damage, of course. And it's funny, I always mention that, like, oh, Gauntlet's so great because even if you go in, you don't have to do anything. You can just leave and be safe and live out the rest of your life in peace and harmony. I always say that, but I don't know if I ever actually listened to that advice because I enjoy the challenge so much and I just can't say no. But I think we are just about ready to get into this. Use small abominations. One last look over here. Pretty much just getting an artifact ring out of this. Is that worth it? I think it is the slightly easier path for us. Because this side is very scary. 70 health is just too much, friend. Just too much. Let's go for it. Can start with some Foxfires here. And Sticky Flame will be our saving grace. Not too bad. Run around, pick up our crap here. Pop in, and so this side has the wizard, just has a scroll. This side we know has a teleport scroll. I know, if we really want to get min-maxy about this, there's Rinwolf. Which, do we have any of those? We have one of those. Alternatively, let's see what this one is. Also Rinwolf. Huh. Then I'll definitely go left side. Feel pretty good about that. Main goal will be to kill you as soon as we possibly can. Fortunately, no resistance to fire, so that's good. You do move very fast, don't love that. But we should be able to take out the Fedibus's immediately with a fireball. So let's go for it. Ooh, not if you're right next to us, though. Oh, and don't change positions like that. I did not agree to that. Let's Sticky Flame. Followed by some unavoidable damage, some unavoidable damage. Perfect. Never a doubt in my mind. And there we go. Even without resistance to electricity, managed to pull through. And last but not least, we're in it to win it here. Unfortunately, I don't like where our enemies end up hanging around when we head to the portal. There's no real way for us to juke them out here, so we will probably just have to deal with this. I have a feeling these buddies are fast, right? They are indeed fast. These buddies are very fast? No, you're just fast as well. Still likely that we get surrounded the second we walk in there. I mean, we can reduce it to a one-on-one, but these fire bolts will be fired through, or fire breath rather, I think can be fired through their allies since everyone in here is immune to fire. Do I have any spells in my book that may give us advantage? We could learn IMB, use it to shove enemies away so that we can blast with our ice wand. Doesn't seem too bad. Alternatively, what can we do? Can't you just go up left, go over the rim, pick it up, and exit with a haste? So we don't have haste identified. We could potentially go for just the retreat. You're not wrong. Again, I think I get too stuck in my head about the challenge and wanting to defeat it on its own terms. But that does sound like a pretty good move. Everything will be faster than us, so it is going to be tough without a haste. Just in case, I think I want to learn some backups here, so that no matter how the encounter progresses, we have a few different options at our disposal here. So I think I will learn IMB, just in case we do end up going that route, or needing to go that route even. And could random chuck potions for resistance if we were feeling ballsy. We could use our Sling of Frost, but don't think we can last enough turns to make that work. Just going through one final inventory check, making sure I'm not missing out on something stupidly obvious at the very least, though it doesn't seem to be the case. Could hopefully reflect a firebolt if it came our way. That'd be nice. Would be nice. Alternatively, if we put on this Ring of Wizardry, how does that make our casting? Does make IMB a bit more castable. Yeah, I'm slightly worried about attempting to run away here and just being overrun, chased down by these dogs and elementals. Let's pop in, shall we? We do get an opportunity to at least send out one Ice Blast. So this buddy just hits for fire damage and only 15. That's the one that hurts. So let's cross our fingers together. They are vulnerable, so as long as this gets a high roll, it will be a ridiculous amount of damage. Just moderately wounded across the board, hey? Not exactly what we wanted to see. Let's go for a shove off. Not quite, eh? Hum-de-dum. Let's take one step back, though, and we are actually in a relatively decent position here. You're resistant to poison. Weapon brands kind of get past that. But what the heck are you doing, sir? How did you get there? Another elemental that I wasn't paying attention to? Whoops. Even the fact that they have to filter through this one by one does open up to being able to potentially throw out some ice blasty-ness. Perfect. Then just the fire elementals, hey? I really wish you had stepped up here, or the other Hellhound stepped up there. Then that Ice Blast would be another absurdly good hit. I'm using a lot of charges here, but I think I am actually happy to do so. Because if we can just clear this area on our own volition, it makes life a bit easier for us in the future. Get here, let us, let's see, oh, the ring, I was crossing my fingers, hoping against hope that it would have resistance to fire on it, and it could just trivialize the rest of this. Still will pick that up. Iron Willpower is a nice little combo there. Contamination, not the best, but not the end of the world. We can probably get away with that. And now, do I bother to finish this fight? Probably not, right? I'll just get the heck out of here. Yeah. Oh, especially, I didn't know you came with me. Oh, that's not great. Fortunately, Bolt of Magma gets around resistances. We do also have IMB, so let's start with that. Of course, we fail it at 4%, just when we needed it most. disappears. Sir, you were not supposed to come out of your hidey hole yet. Okay. Let's see. You have the +1 Flail of Holy Wrath, the +6 Chainmail of the Hall of the Blades. Our poison, regen, strength -4. Not great. Not grand. Could go for brilliance. Trying to overwhelm this buddy with sheer firepower. Unfortunately, javelins to the face are gonna hurt a heck of a lot here. Kind of wanted to get some, whatchamacallit, AC back. I was gonna switch out our wizardry ring for AC one once more. Definitely not out of this yet. Could Curari. Oh no, we can't. Oh, we don't actually have line of sight. It's just because of the glass. Oh, they didn't notice us. Okay, shh, shh, shh. Nobody tell the Minotaur I'm over here. Cool. Okay, much better. Let's also switch out the wizardry. I think I do just want more AC here. And what else? Oh my gosh, I thought I had no fire resistance. I have a scarf of resistance on. That's why that fight went so well. Hero's so confused. This Human Fire Elementalist run, it is indeed Colgate. Yeah, our first run of the night here, going pretty well so far. Though many people have said that before running headfirst into a Minotaur that absolutely murders them. So we'll have to see how this fight goes before we say anything too confident. But we do have Curari. 76% chance to hit. Okay, we also have our nets. Atropa I don't think is very likely to work out. What else? I guess we could check. What's your health total? Not too much. You've played too much in Trunk? That spell looked weird. Yeah, I'm excited to get to try some of the new spells that are available. I've heard that they're super fun, but you know, it's still in the good old days. Foxfire here. But yeah, I'm excited to try out the new fire elementals in general, as well as that new fire god. At some point, we'll get around to it, I'm sure. Let's go for it. Let's Curari. Oh, it has resist poison. Dang it. How did I forget? It has the chainmail of the Hall of the Blades, you fool. Oh me, oh my. Not my greatest moment, not my greatest look. So, alternatively here, we almost want you in melee range. I think is that slightly preferable to the javelins? Maybe not as much as I was thinking on first blush there. But, the question becomes, do we want to use a potion of brilliance? Get half magic spells here, which means that we could potentially blast out a ridiculous number of bolts of magma or fireballs here. Wouldn't be too bad. Sticky Flame helping as well. Maybe some early blinks. You know, let's take Brilliance. Immediately get absolutely slammed by a javelin. Oh geez. Now it's almost more tempting to read this Torment Scroll. I was taking an eye on that earlier, but we had a greater max health than the Minotaur, so we actually would have been hit kind of poorly by that trade-off. It's looking slightly better now, but still not great. Not great. So, what do we wish to do here? I think I do want you in melee range. Feel slightly more comfortable with our 15 AC thanks to our double ring. Versus, yeah, that javelin, I just can't get over how much that hurt. On a deep emotional level. Let's do one bolt of magma here. Okay, javelin missed us that time. What are your chances to hit us? 71%? Do I want to walk up to you? Goes against so much how we played this game. But I might. I guess that was a slightly more manageable hit. All it takes is one of those bad ones to immediately put us on the back foot again here, and we don't have any heal wounds for sure. Huh. Feeling kind of stupid here. probably should have done slightly more setup, even blind quaffing some potions before we started the fight. If we'd gone something like haste, really would have turned the tides early on here. I mean, I guess we don't even have to step next to him. We could use a potion of attraction. I think he still gets a free hit though. Let's take a second here. Think about our life. Everything, all the decisions that have led up to this moment. Smash myself in the teeth with my glass for good measure. Attract would put him in melee, yeah. I just don't know if it's any better than just walking up to him here. Let's do it. Please stop throwing javelins at me, sir. Okay, definitely slightly better odds there, even though we probably just rolled pretty well on our AC. And now... don't think we have a safe blast spot, right? We do not, unfortunately. In terms of our fireball here, same thing. I should have done sticky flame while we still had even that little bit of extra health leeway. Trying to think if it's worth it now. We'd need to roll well on on our AC. But it's a guaranteed hit, guaranteed damage on the next couple of turns. So I'm tempted to sticky flame and then one last magma bolt to finish things off. Don't think I have great odds with a net. I guess we can take a peek before we make any decisions here. 76% chance to hit. It's better than I thought. But you'll still hit us through the net probably, right? Hum-de-dum. Let's go for the sticky flame. Minotaur's almost dead. One last bolt of magma. Perfect. And then we'll definitely be stealing this armor off of you. That's very attractive as a future prospect here. +4 short bow of freezing. Man, I guess I'll pick it up unless there's anything better in your treasure trove here. Ooh, another artifact chainmail. +0 this time, strength and stealth. Don't think that'll quite do it for me. We did get Ozakuba's armor and polar vortex if we wanted to start training into the ice side of things. That's actually something that I'd totally forgotten about. Back in the early games, or back in the early days of this game, there used to be anti-synergy in some of the spell schools. Wow, that's a blast from the past. I'm pretty sure once you got fire magic higher than your ice magic, you got like a -4 to the aptitude or something. Is that a false memory of mine? I don't know how long all of you have been around the DCSS game in the past here, but that's wild. I wonder when that changed. That must have been a very early change. It's been a long while since I remember seeing that. Anyway, random tangent there. Good work, nice, and good luck tonight. Thank you so much, Shaper. Yeah, if you're heading out, then thanks for all the support and love you've sent our way. I appreciate it a whole lot and hope that you have a good night as well. You know what, let's drop that hunting sling of freezing. Ooh, boots of rampaging. Thought boots of swiftness. I don't even know if those still exist. I feel like they might have been removed in a version relatively recent to this one. I'll still take them though, as long as I remember I'm rampaging. Everyone say it with me now. Remember, I have rampaging. We should be okay. And then Ice Dragon Scales. The Ice and Fire Dragon Scales are always tempting armors for spellcasters. Relatively low encumbrance rating relative to the armor class they give, so that's pretty sweet. Cool, yeah, you just started in 0.25. Nice, though. That's when I started to really get back into the game. It was around 0.25. So it was always on and off throughout the years, but then I've really kind of taken a shine for it in the more recent travels back or journeys back into the thick of things here. Okie dokie. What do I wish to drop? We could drop our stones, I guess. No real reason to be trucking those along. We'll pick up that armor. Let's do one last check. Things in here. We don't need that +0 chainmail. Won't worry about that. And the rest was in or we're in the different chambers. So let's just heal up, rest easy after our hard-won fight. Can head out. You just learned the food system before it was removed. Just in time to realize how good we have it nowadays then. It's something that I don't really miss whatsoever. Definitely agreed with the idea that it was usually more of an annoyance rather than an actual mechanic. Occasionally I had the run, definitely, where you were fighting for the next meal and it was exciting in some ways. But I would say that those were the minority of the runs, and for the most part, it was just a bygone conclusion that I would have food, and it was just a matter of remembering, paying attention to the notes saying how hungry you were. So that's a change that I've definitely enjoyed. Prefer the Zot clock because it doesn't need input from me. Exactly. No, I fully agree with you there. Let's end this with a bang. Perfect. No, I still have one character that hasn't died and is doing the occasional like ziggurat or trolling through Pan. And they are a demon spawn that's still in 0.25. And so when I go back to them, it's such a weird experience to have to pay attention to food again. In fact, that character had to do a ridiculous amount of trolling through Abyss because of food in particular, because they had such issues that I would just go in there, cross my fingers that I'd run into good food supplies on the way. They're also worshipping Gozag, and I think I've spent like thousands upon thousands, probably upwards of 10,000 gold on food shops alone. Just absolutely ridiculous. But no, we definitely have it good nowadays. Now that we're past the food gameplay. Especially as a spellcaster, it's such a different experience playing pre and post food, where you're really paying attention, pre-food, really paying attention to which spells you're casting. You like have to cast your weaker spells, because if you go straight to the heavy hitters, they cost way too much in terms of the food expenditure. So it's a mix. It definitely has ups and downs. There are benefits to that as well, where it causes you to play more strategically in some senses, but definitely love just slinging out all the heaviest hitters at every opportunity that we do nowadays. Hello, Gastronoc. Let's just mark you and we'll come back later. So we continue to bring friends into melee, hit them with Sticky Flame, potentially some poison, and run away. It's a thing of beauty. But no, I am a pretty big fan of the Zot clock compared to food, but part of that is because I have always thought of myself as a slow player, and I thought that switching over to the Zot clock, I would be constantly in panic mode and really worried about it. Turns out, I just haven't come close to hitting it, really. I think I had one run where I was diving into branches to get slightly more time at it, but generally, just never really had to concern myself, so I don't mind the addition as much as I initially thought I would when it was announced. But I'm pretty easy to please, and I'm usually happy with any new mechanics just because I like new stuff and I get excited about changing the way that I play the game. I think that there's an innate fun factor in that, for me at least. Though I completely respect people with the opposite opinion, because I know it's not for everyone, and some people like it the way they've got it, and that's why DCSS is so wonderful, because all those old versions are still available. I still go back and play on some of them every once in a while. I plan to at some point go back to, I think, 0.26 and abuse the absolute crap out of Absolute Zero. But I definitely, generally, enjoy playing in the current times here. Yeah, you remember not using your best spells because of the food cost? No, exactly. It was a huge part of the game. So we have two different scrolls of acquirement to check out here. Let's definitely take a peek. We got the +0 hat of free expression. Mine is cast. That's an immediate nope for me. Staff of Fire. Kind of interesting. That's what we do here. You can also take a look at the spellbook. Spellbooks, in some ways, are potentially a waste, because we will get all the spells in the game from Sif Muna. On the other hand, though, the spellbook does have statue form, and Lahudub's Crystal Spear. So, statue form is just such an incredible spell on your casters. It's hard to say no to that, especially since I probably won't end up using the Staff of Fire. I'll put it in my inventory and I'll tell everyone that I'm going to switch to it to cast my fire spells. It's never going to happen though. I'm way too lazy for that. Similar to what Colgate was talking about with the Zot clock a minute ago, where if it requires input from me, I'm that much less likely to enjoy doing so. So I think I might actually take the spellbook here, even if just to get early statue form. It's an absolutely beautiful spell. Shouldn't take too much to get online either, and then our defenses will be set for pretty much the entire run probably. Always have the option to switch into heavier armor at a later date, but we won't at all need it any longer. Genie doesn't get spellbooks offered from acquirement, right? I don't believe so. I think they just get manuals. In general, the scrolls of acquirement I think are all structured to only give you things that you are able to make use of, so that would make sense to me. It's been a little bit since I last tried a Genie. It was back in the initial release of this version that I was really having fun experimenting with them. So it has been a minute, but that sounds right in my head at the very least, and people can always correct me if I have misremembered something in that regard. Blink frogs and an alarm trap. That's a nasty combo. So I'm going to probably try and leave those friends alone for the time being. And let's walk around to another fight here. Oh wow, I didn't expect to get right next to you. Cover you with fire. Poison you on top of that. Love to see it. And we also just picked up that spellbook from the Scroll of Acquirement, so I should have actually taken a look at statue form here. Earth is already training up. Transmutation, we could definitely get on the back burner here. I guess Earth we only brought up to 6, so let us turn that back on. Continue to train it up here, probably to around the 12 range, somewhere in that ballpark at the very least. And then fighting is really close to its cap that we wanted to get it to. Conjuration's looking pretty good as well. One thing I should do is read this other Scroll of Acquirement before I make any hard decisions here. We get the ring assist here. Resistance to electricity, resistance to cold, 3 pips of RN, and see invisible. That's a pretty awesome ring. Alternatively, the Cloak of the Thief. The fog effect? Have I used the Cloak of the Thief? This has Unrandart written all over it. Is this where you get hit? You released fog? It also bears enchantments allowing the wearer to make a hasty retreat under cover of fog. It may release the cloud of smoke when the wearer is hurt. Okay, so it is the one that I was thinking of at the very least. But this also lets us see invisible. Adds some stealth, which isn't bad if we're always going to be in robes, or at least for the time being here. And the Slain doesn't negatively impact us quite as much either. Well. Don't say that these acquirement scrolls aren't interesting. That's really tough. It's nice to have a source of resistance to electricity. That's going to be super important going into certain fights in our future here. As we actually saw in our recent Palantonga run, where I almost got myself killed when swapping off from our Elec amulet. Definitely some fond memories of that. As well as just having this all across the board, kind of resistance buff and see invisible. That's pretty nice. Miss out on 4 AC for it. The cloak is just fun. I think I see Unrandart, I want Unrandart, because I love thematic things and I love things that play into their own kind of unique niche angle. I think that's super cool and fun. But I'll probably end up going with the ring here, all things considered. You've noticed with Genie that although it tends to have a higher HP pool than magic pool than other characters, HP regen seems to be lower than magic regen. Right, but with the caveat that there are quite a few items you can find in the game that have that regenerative quality to it. So I do find it a bit of an interesting trade-off in that regard at the very least. Let's drop our other AC ring, I guess. Now let's drop our positive energy ring and acrobatic amulet. Let's try that out. We have lots of other tools at our disposal to bring that up, including this current artifact that we found in our gauntlet there, so that's pretty sweet. Teleporting targets are a nice one for sticky flame, because now even if they manage to get away from us here like that, ain't no thing. We'll just keep them on fire here, and they'll continually take damage as they do their jumpy thing. Looking a little sketchier now as we run out of magic points, of course. Can slowly start running away from blink frogs. Need to be just a wee bit cautious here, and there we go. Want them to blink to the right side of us there, then we can shut the door in their face, heal up completely, and it ain't no thing. Now we can continue our strategy of just all the damage over time effects. I'm actually almost hoping we find Spider, because in a similar sense we can use Sticky Flame to really powerful effect there. Come on, Cane Toad, close the gap. There we go. Not too bad. Don't know where the Komodo Dragon ended up. That should be fine. No Hydras so far. I'm ready for that to change. Don't get me wrong. Don't mistake my musing for confidence or anything, because they will show up eventually here and start to give us a bit of trouble, to say the least. One thing we can do here is reach back into our book, conjure flame, bring that up, and then we can let these enemies take a whole lot of damage as they try and fight us here. Still scary. So these buddies deal up to 40 damage, up to 30. Ooh, that's getting real close to that 30 now. But we have a few damage over time effects. Let's just take some steps back, and there we go. They take care of themselves. You guess you could play as Necromancer and use Vampiric Draining as your sublimation of blood, right? Or, I mean, McLeb's healing isn't quite as good as it used to be, but vampiric weapons in general become very strong. The series of regeneration effects that you can get off different items, as well as that comboed together, does seem to be absolutely incredible in terms of overall efficacy there. Let's just burn them all, and then we can start running away. In fact, play it a little bit safe there. Burn them, and run. Perfect. Even a Death Yak pack isn't gonna stop us now. Don't get me down here, game. Not too bad. So these are the blink frogs that were hanging out around that alarm trap. So we're getting close to clearing the level enough that I won't mind exploring that area as well. Let's see how she goes here. Vampiric Ego seems to be rather rare. Are you just unlucky? The brand? It is quite rare. No, I would agree with you there. I think it is just because of how much power potential it has in certain builds and stuff. It is one of the less likely ones to come up in the same branch as things like holy weapons, even though that almost feels like an unfair comparison, because you almost always run into holy weapons at some stage in the game. Even early on you can find them in the hands of orc packs and stuff, but in general both those brands can be exceptionally powerful and aren't quite as likely to pop up, I feel. Not too shabby here. Thanks to our poison resistance, swarm bees ain't no thing. Egos are with armor. Is that actually the distinction? Because I've always in my head thought it just meant a similar thing to brand. Like brand would still be slightly more directly applicable to weapon, but at the end of the day, what would you call like the addition of a statistical bonus onto a weapon? That's an eagle on the weapon, right? Or resistance or the like. At least I always thought of it that way. Even though who knows? That's the thing about language, is it can mean so many different things to different people. And it's all a matter of perspective and whatever you learned it to mean. Especially with something that's not often said in explicit terms and is usually just used in the context of talking about some effect from a magical item in the game here. Isn't language wonderful?